So today's training will help you to understand why challenging behaviors occurs and how to identify triggers and how to teach replacement skills and how to prevent behaviors before they happen and how to respond safely during the escalation and how to support long-term behavior changes. So, throughout this presentation, I encourage you to think about your own child and consider the situations where challenging behaviors occur most often. And think about what happens before the behavior, during the behavior, and after the behavior. And those patterns will help us to understand the function of behavior and develop effective interventions. Intervention planning, proactive versus reactive strategies. So, one of the most important concepts in behavior management is understanding the difference between proactive and reactive strategies. Many parents naturally focus on reactive strategies because those are the strategies we use when behavior is already happening. For example, if a child is screaming, hitting, or throwing objects, we immediately want to know what to do in that moment. However, ABA emphasized that proactive strategies are often more powerful because they prevent challenging behaviors from occurring in the first place. So let's discuss proactive strategies first. Proactive strategies occurs before the behavior begins. Their purpose is prevention. Examples include visual schedules, transition warnings, first then board, choice making opportunities, teaching communication skills, environmental modifications, predictable routines, and reinforcement systems. So these strategies reduce triggers and increase success. Reactive strategies occur after behavior has started. Examples include maintaining safety, remaining calm, using minimal language, blocking dangerous behavior when trained, and prompting communication and following crisis plans. Reactive strategies are important because even the best prevention plans cannot eliminate every challenging behavior. So, proactive strategies are like maintaining your vehicle, checking the brakes, and following the traffic rules. And reactive strategies are what you do if a tire suddenly blows out while driving. So, both are important. But unfortunately, many families spend 90% of their energy reacting and only 10% on preventing. And ABA encourages us to reverse that ratio. So, when prevention increases, crisis situations often decrease dramatically. So, as parents, one of the most valuable questions you can ask yourself is, what can I do before the behavior starts? That question often leads to more effective intervention than asking, what should I do after the behavior starts? The most successful behavior plans include both proactive and reactive strategies working together. Prevention through predictable routines. Predictability is one of the most powerful behavior management tools available to parents. Many children, especially those with autism, ADHD, anxiety, and communication challenges, thrive when they know what to expect. When routines are inconsistent or unpredictable, children may experience uncertainty and anxiety. And anxiety often increases challenging behavior. Think about how adults feel when we don't know what is happening next. We may feel frustrated, stressed, or overwhelmed. So, children experience similar feelings, but they may express them through behavior instead of words. So, predictable routines help to reduce uncertainty. So, examples include morning routine. Like there should be a routine for everything, like waking up, bathroom, brush teeth, get dressed, eat breakfast, and leave for school. And homework routine should be like this: snack, break, homework, and reinforcement activity. Bedtime routine: bath, pajamas, story, lights out. So, visual supports are extremely helpful because they allow children to see what comes next. Parents should also use transition warnings. Many challenging behaviors occur during transitions, for example, ending a screen time, leaving a preferred activity, going to bed, starting homework. So instead of abruptly ending activities, provide warnings. For example, 5 more minutes and we are going to bed. So using timers can make transition more predictable and less emotional. Another strategy is breaking tasks into smaller steps. So instead of saying clean your room, try to say put the clothes in the basket. After that, next step like putting the books on the shelf. So smaller steps reduce overwhelm and increase success. Finally, reinforce cooperation throughout the routine. Do not wait until the entire task is complete. Praise effort, participation, and small successes. Predictability reduces anxiety, and reduced anxiety most often leads to reduced challenging behavior. Choice making. Choice making is a simple but powerful strategy that gives children appropriate control. Many challenging behaviors occur during the power struggles. So, children often want control over their environment. So, when they feel they have no control, resistance may increase. Choice making allows us to provide control while maintaining expectations. For example, the expectation may be homework completion. So instead of saying, do you homework now? You might say, would you like to start with math or reading? The homework still happens. The child simply choose how to begin. Other examples include blue cup or red cup, shower first or breakfast or homework first, pencil or marker, table or desk. So notice all these choices are acceptable to the parent. The common mistake is offering choices that are not truly available. Do you want to take a bath? If bath is required, that is not actually a choice. So instead of this, ask, do you want bubbles or no bubbles? Do you want a blue towel or green towel? Another important concept is forced choice options. Children who are upset may struggle with open-ended questions. So instead of asking, what do you want? Try to ask, do you want a break or help? So forced choices simply decision making and reduce frustration. Choice making promotes cooperation, independence, communication, and self determination. Most importantly, it reduces unnecessary power struggles. So, children often respond better when they feel heard or involved. Behavior specific praise. Many parents naturally say good job. While positive, this type of praise does not tell the child exactly what they did correctly. So behavior specific praise identify the exact behavior being reinforced. Examples like great job using your words, or thank you for keeping your hands safe, and I like how you waited patiently. Excellent job transitioning when the timer went off. You ask for help calmly, nice work. So these types of praises teaches children exactly what behavior should happen again. So think of praise as a feedback. The more specific the feedback, the faster learning occurs. So behavior specific praise also shift attention towards positive behavior. Another important concept is reinforcing approximations. We do not want to wait for perfection. For example, if a child usually screams for 10 minutes, but today screams for 2 minutes and then asks for help appropriately, so praise the communication immediately. Progress deserves recognition. So behavior specific praise is free, easily implement, effective, and relationship building. Research consistently shows that children who receive high rates of positive attention often demonstrate improved cooperation and reduced challenging behavior. Functional communication training. Functional communication training or FCT is one of the most effective interventions in ABA for reducing challenging behavior. The Beck's idea is simple. If behavior is communication, then we teach a better way to communicate. Many challenging behaviors happen because a child lacks an effective communication method. For example, hitting may mean I need help. Screaming may mean need I want attention. Throwing materials may mean this is too hard. And running away may mean I need a break. So instead of focusing only on stopping the behavior, we teach the child what to do instead. This is called replacement behavior. Examples include break please, help please, my turn, and play with me. So, replacement behavior should meet three criteria. First one, easy to perform. Second one, easy to understand. And third one, more effective, more efficient than the challenging behavior. So, if asking for help requires more effort than hitting, the child may likely to continue hitting. Initially, reinforce communication immediately. If a child requests a break appropriately, provide a brief break. If they request help, provides help. Over time, we gradually teach waiting and tolerance. Remember, the goal is not simply to reduce aggression. The goal is to increase communication. When communication improves, challenging behaviors often decreases naturally. Choosing effective reinforcers. Reinforcement is the engine that drives behavior change. A reinforcement. Choosing effective reinforcers. Reinforcement is the engine that drives behavior change. A reinforcer is anything that increases the likelihood a behavior will occur again. What is reinforcing for a child may not be reinforcing for another. Examples include praise, toys, stickers, snacks, music, screen time, special activities, attention, or moment breaks. So parents often make a mistake by choosing rewards based on what the adult think should be motivating. So instead of that, we need to identify what actually motivates the child. We can do this through preference assessment. Immediate reinforcement and fading. Timing is critical in ABA. When teaching a new skill, reinforcement should occur immediately after the desired behavior. Imagine teaching a child to ask for help. If they ask appropriately, but help arrives 10 minutes later, the learning connection becomes weaker. So, immediate reinforcement helps the child understand exactly which behavior earned the reward. Initially, we use continuous reinforcement. That means every appropriate response receives a reinforcement. Differential reinforcement. Differential reinforcement is one of the most important ABA procedure. The concept is simple. Reinforce behaviors you want to see more often. Do not reinforce behaviors you want to decrease. For example, a child screams to get attention. So if attention follows screaming is reinforced. So instead, provide attention when the child uses appropriate communication. Responding during escalation. When children become escalated, our primary goal changes. At this stage, teaching is not the priority. Safety becomes the priority. So during escalation, you have to stay calm, speak softly, reduce language, maintain safety, and avoid arguing. Many adults naturally talk more when the behavior increases. Unfortunately, children in crisis often cannot process lengthy explanations. So keep the language short. For example, save hands, take a break, I can help, use your words, let's breathe. and reduce environmental stimulation when possible, and move siblings or other learners away, lower noise levels, and remove unnecessary distractions. If the child can still communicate, prompt non coping skills. If they are highly escalated, focus solely on safety until they recover. Remember, children borrow regulation from others, from adults. So your calmness becomes one of the most important intervention tools. De-escalation language. Language can either calm or escalate behavior. Helpful statements include I see this is hard. You are safe. I can help. Let's take a break. Use your calm body. So these statements validate emotions while maintaining expectations. Avoid threats, sarcasm, lectures, and repeated questioning, also arguing. Many parents ask, why are you doing this during escalation? And children often cannot answer. The thinking part of the brain is overwhelmed. So instead of focusing on calming, validation does not mean giving in. You can say, I know you want the iPad, while still maintaining the boundary, the iPad is finished. Children need adults who are calm, predictable, and respectful. These communication habits help to build emotional regulation skills over time. Aggression and safety steps. So, when aggression occurs, safety is always the first priority. So, our first responsibility is protecting ourselves, everyone involved. So, our first responsibility is protecting everyone involved. Recommended safety steps include move siblings away, remove dangerous objects, create a space, maintain supervision, use appropriate safety procedures, and avoid reacting emotionally, and avoid yelling. Avoid physical intervention unless specifically trained and directed by your BCBA. Examples of calm responses are like I'm moving back to stay safe, hands free. I will help when your body is calm. And after the incident, review what happened. Ask what triggered the behavior and what happened before it and what happened afterwards. And was the behavior plan followed? And do we need changes? So every aggressive incident provides valuable information for future prevention. And safety planning should occur before crisis happen. What parent should avoid? Parents often ask what not to do. So several common reactions unintentionally strengthen the challenging behavior. So avoid yelling, threatening, physical punishment, long lectures, and inconsistent responses. Giving in after escalation is also we should be avoided. Physical punishment may stop behavior temporarily but does not teach replacement skills. So long lectures during tantrums rarely work because the child cannot process them. Giving in teaches if the escalation is enough, I get what I want. So this strengthens the future behavior. Remember, parents are not failing. Many of those responses are natural human reactions. And ABS simply helps us to replace less effective responses with more effective ones. Planned ignoring and extinction. Planned ignoring and extinction are often misunderstood. Planned ignoring may be appropriate for minor attention maintained behaviors, for example, whining, mild complaining, silly noises, minor attention seeking behaviors. But it is not appropriate for aggression, self injury, property destruction, elopement, and dangerous behavior. Extinction means withholding reinforcement that previously maintained behavior. A warning. Behavior often gets worse before it gets better. This temporary increase is called an extension burst. For example, a child who previously screamed for a toy may scream louder initially when the toy is no longer provided. And consistency is essential. Extension should always be paired with teaching replacement behaviors. Never simply remove reinforcement without teaching a better way to communicate. Behavior momentum. Behavior momentum uses success to build cooperation. The process is very simple. Start with easy request and provide quick reinforcement. Then present the difficult request. For example, touch your nose, clap hands, give me a high five. Then put your shoes on. The child experiences multiple successful interactions before encountering a difficult demand. This increases compliance and reduces resistance. Behavior momentum work particularly when before homework, transitions, self-care routines, non-preferred activities. The goal is creating the pattern of success. Recovery stage. So after escalation ends, children often enter a recovery stage. They may be tired, emotional, quiet, embarrassed, still dysregulated, and this is not the time for long discussions. Focus first on calming and reconnecting. So after regulation returns, teaching can occur. For example, next time when the homework feels hard, you can say help please. Then practice the skill. Role play. Praise participation. Children learn best when they are calm. And teaching during recovery is far more effective than teaching during crisis. Consistency at home. Consistency is one of the strongest predictors of success. Consistency means same expectation, same replacement skill, similar responses, similar reinforcement. All caregivers should know what behavior is targeted, what replacement behavior is taught, and what reinforce is used. Consistency does not mean perfection, it means predictability. Progress happens when the child can reliably predict what will happen following their behavior.